Hey guys, welcome back. Now, Bitcoin and the crypto market have not had the best start to the year. As I record this, Bitcoin is already down 19% as investors continue to rotate out of risk assets following a record year in 2021. Now, from everything I am looking at, 2022 is a very difficult year to make price predictions, as there are many big catalysts which could impact the price in a big way. And the problem is, it's in both directions. These catalysts could send the Bitcoin price soaring, but they could also send Bitcoin's price crashing. So in this video, we'll cover each scenario, try to piece together what I think will be the most likely scenario, and then assign price targets in both directions. So we'll look at Bitcoin's fundamentals, and let's keep our eye on the ball. Then the bull case for Bitcoin, what could send Bitcoin's price soaring? Then the bear case for Bitcoin, what could pee on Bitcoin's parade, causing a big sell-off? And then we'll finish with price targets for both directions. As always, if you do enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, always appreciated. Okay, so when it comes to price predictions, it's never good to just pull numbers out of the air. I will always use analysis, logic, and reason. And what best place to start than with the fundamentals? Ready? Let's do this. And first up is what is going on in the background. So this is the growth in monthly active developers on the Bitcoin network. And this data is fresh off the press from Electric Capital. And one of the things I noticed is that from inception, this has pretty much been steadily growing all the way. And most recently in the last year, this growth trend is looking really, really strong. Now, as we know, Bitcoin has had some cycle tops and huge crashes, so I went back and overlaid where the big crashes were. And very interestingly, there was a big crash here, a big crash here, and a big crash here. But when it came to the developers working on the protocol, amazingly, more and more developers just kept on coming. So for me, this is a really positive sign for Bitcoin. Next up, we have Bitcoin's hash rate, which is the computational power of the network. And the big eyesore on this chart is this China ban, which happened around here when they shut down all the Bitcoin miners and we had this huge migration across the world. However, since then, it's been coming back and we've now just hit new all-time highs in the hash rate. So this says to me that Bitcoin's network is extremely resilient, but again, it's another green flag. Next up is the public companies that have decided to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and this now stands at 27 companies. And remember, about a year ago, this was 0. In fact, it was MicroStrategy that took the lead late in 2020, but again, another green flag as more and more companies are choosing to put Bitcoin on their balance sheets. And could this be the next trend? This was another report and completely out of the blue, and Rio de Janeiro, the first city in the world, is to allocate 1% of their treasuries to Bitcoin. Now, will this follow public companies, and will we start to see cities all around the world putting their treasuries into Bitcoin? Again, another huge green flag. We now have Strike, which was Bitcoin's layer 2, expanding into Argentina, and had previously gone into El Salvador before the country decided to make it legal tender, but Argentina is like 20-30 times bigger than El Salvador. We have a huge Bitcoin bull, Jack Dorsey, who is now putting together a Bitcoin legal defense fund. And this will help defend developers from any lawsuits regarding activities from the Bitcoin ecosystem. And another huge milestone later this year, the banks are now getting involved. And due to a recent partnership, it's now estimated that you'll be able to buy and sell Bitcoin from 300 banks. So it's huge news when banks begin getting into crypto. And the latest from big tech, they also are getting into Bitcoin and crypto. We now have Google expanding their crypto team to get into crypto payments. We have Intel that have created a Bitcoin mining chip. And we have Facebook and Instagram beginning to integrate with NFTs. So on the fundamentals, we've got excellent growth from developers. The hash rate is now setting new all-time highs. We have banks getting involved, more companies allocating, cities begin allocating, and now big tech all jumping on board. So from a fundamentals point of view, it's looking really, really strong. And I always like to keep my eye on the ball. Fundamentals are more important than the price. Now, for the bull case of Bitcoin, it really comes down to two things. First, this was the recent decision to delay the most recent spot Bitcoin ETF, but it's only a matter of time until the Bitcoin ETF goes live in the US. And when it does, it's going to be huge. In fact, it's now getting a bit embarrassing why the Fed continues to delay. We even had the SEC commissioner recently speaking that she doesn't understand why the Bitcoin ETF hasn't yet gone live. And when it does, new money will begin flooding into Bitcoin. And the second huge catalyst, again, is crypto regulations from the US. There is an enormous amount of money waiting to get involved, but institutions don't want to allocate hundreds of millions if there can be a sudden crash just around the corner. But all this money is like water in a dam, and the pressure is building and building and building, and water always finds a way. So where is this money currently being pushed to? Well, this is DeFi, and DeFi has been going sideways now for over 1 year. So where is this money flooding to? Well, this is what's going on in the world of NFTs. And because no regulations are likely to come in the short term, you can see all the money is being pushed into NFTs. And you'll notice NFTs now are everywhere. And I think the main cause of this are the delays in US regulation. Now, when it comes to the bear case, it's a very similar picture. It all depends what's going to happen with crypto regulations. With unfavorable regulations, the US certainly has the power to crush the crypto market in the short term. The next is the US stock market, and we shouldn't spend our lives just living in the crypto bubble. Crypto right now is heavily correlated to the US stock market, so we have to pay attention to what is going on in stocks. And as you can see, most recently, stocks have been going vertical. In fact, the S&P last year finished up 27%. Now, this is not normal at all. Historically, this should be closer to 10%. So stocks are bubbling up, which is why so many people are calling for a big stock market crash. And already the S&P this year is down 5%. So this is also causing a lot of fear in the markets right now. Now, from a technical analysis point of view, this is Bitcoin's price, and we have the golden crosses and the death crosses. And for anyone new, the red line is the 200-day moving average, a long-term average. We then have the shorter 50-day moving average here. And because of the pullback in Bitcoin, whenever the 50-day crosses over the 200, we get this death cross. And this is a very bearish sign for all traders, which is going to be quite a big portion of the market. And already prices are going down. So current technicals do not look that good. And when we look at the sentiment right now, again, investors are in extreme fear. We also shouldn't forget that we are in the midst still of this pandemic, and this is what's happening to the latest cases, which on paper looks like an extremely worrying sign, considering these were the 3 previous peaks. Now, some good news fresh out of the UK. The UK doesn't seem to be too concerned about this. And in fact, we are loosening up all the restrictions. As from next week, people are no longer required to wear a mask. COVID passports are to be scrapped. Social distancing is to be scrapped. The work from home policy is also to be scrapped. And the Prime Minister has said about a plan of learning to live with COVID like we do the cold and flu. So very positive signs coming out of the UK. But again, this is a bit of a black swan, as anything can happen with new variants later in the year. So when it comes to price predictions, we cannot forget that there's also downside risk. Some kind of regulation bomb, a stock market crash, interest rates rising, I would also put under the stock market category, a COVID variant, or some other thing that comes out of the blue. So when it comes to price targets, I'll do one for the bull case scenario and the bear case. So if everything falls right for Bitcoin, we can certainly see a 3x from the 40k mark, which would be $120,000. And as a worst case scenario, I could see Bitcoin price going down to $20,000. And I would see this as a floor, as there is going to be huge buy pressure, as this was the previous cycle's all-time high. So now you can see what I mean. If things fall the right way, then it will be huge for Bitcoin and crypto. However, if things fall the wrong way, then the downside potential is also pretty big. Now, remember, it's all about probabilities, and I personally don't believe that it's 50-50 either way. When I keep my eye on the fundamentals, I do remain in the optimistic camp. Say more 70-30. So more likely that it's going to swing in a positive direction. But this is also why I'm a big proponent on planning on how to win in either direction, which I covered in my investing plan here. So, reasonable price target to the upside would be a 3x to $120,000, and to the downside, worst case scenario would be $20,000. Now, I know this is not what many of you want to hear. Oh, so the price could go up or down. Great. Thanks for that. But for me, 2022 really is a pivotal year, and I can't justify just saying that prices are going up. It really does depend on how these factors play out, and unfortunately, all of these events are not in our control. Now, having said all that, I do firmly believe over a longer time frame, think 3 to 5 years, that Bitcoin and crypto will almost certainly be a lot higher. This was just 2022, and I do think there is an enormous amount of money just waiting on the sideline for the green flag from US regulation, which I'm personally very optimistic about. So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Where do you think Bitcoin's price will be going this year? Let me know below. But for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does. If you haven't yet subscribed, click below and join us. Got some great videos coming up that you don't want to miss. Okay, cheers guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.